I'm going to discuss questions that usually sellers don't know to ask agents, right? Typically when sellers want to interview an agent, usually they interview one agent, maybe two. 88% of the time, sellers will just choose the first agent they interview. And what happens is, we call that falling in love with the interview, right? They'll meet an agent and he or she will be a really nice gal, a nice gentleman, and you know, they'll bond with the clients, and next thing you know, they get the deal. Real estate is such a big investment. It's usually, you know, one of our biggest investments that we have, if not the biggest. And usually sellers either list their home with a friend, a family member, or the agent that markets themselves in the community, calls themselves the area specialist, right? They send notepads, market updates, what have you, to the homes to get themselves more listings. So, some questions to ask agents. You know, typically agents will walk in your home and share with you how many homes they've sold. Here's a real good question for you to ask. How many homes have you not sold in the last 12 months, right? Here are some ratios I ran for you. Typically, we're with Sotheby's. I know you're with Sotheby. We're typically in the usually higher end. Our average sales price is about 1.8 million and above. A lot of agents that specialize in selling homes above 1.5 million and on and on. The ratios of homes they sell versus the homes that they don't sell is pretty skewed. Here are some facts for you. Homes listed by agents over $5 million. Agents, on the average, the agents' ratios are about 20 to 25%. That means they sell 2 out of the 10 homes they list, right? If you were going to go to a doctor, would you have a doctor operate on you that has a 20% chance of making you right? Probably not, right? Questions they ask, number one is, what is your commission and what do you do for marketing? And then after that, you know, the conversation goes on, and then they build rapport and on and on. So here's some you know, good valuable information for you with regards to asking agents. Ask the agent, hey, who's my buyer? What is my buyer profile? You know, what does the buyer that's going to come live in this community that typical on the average the buyer buys in this area, whether if it's you know, Laguna Beach, coastal front, ocean front, or Laguna Niguel, you know, in the track community. What is the buyer profile? The agent needs to know that, right? So they can identify who the buyer is, and especially in this day and age with social media, which I'm going to touch a little bit on that as well. They can go and specifically target for that particular buyer profile and push your home in front of buyers who are looking for homes such as yours. So that being said, here's some other good things, good tips for you when you interview agents. You may want to ask them, how long of a listing agreement do you require, right? That's really important, because most agents will, you know, come in the door and try to get you in a 6 months to a 1 year or more minimum contract. And once you're in that contract, you're pretty much locked in. So my philosophy, my philosophy in life is you should treat it like going to a doctor, right? If you don't like your doctor, you shouldn't be forced to going back to the same doctor over and over again. So, you know, tell them, hey, I don't want a, lengthy contract. Or if they want to put you in a contract, have them put a clause in there that specifies that if you're not happy with their service, their performance, their communication, marketing, whatever it may be, you have an out with no obligation, so you can get out of the contract. You know, we go after a lot of listings that have been listed high-end homes by other agents that sellers haven't heard from their agent in months sometimes, you know, or maybe not even after the first time the agent went through the door. Sometimes the seller tells the agent didn't even go for the photography or the videos. Homes over $5, $7, $10 million, I'm not kidding. But they're locked in a contract, right? So that's important, you know, so you want to always make sure that you don't get locked in there and you're not bounded to certain agent, you know. The other part of it is mindset, the mindset of your agent. I'm really big on that, or our whole team here knows. Mindset is everything. Most agents out there that, you know, that you work with, they just want to put a deal together to get compensated, to get their commission. But that shouldn't be the goal. You know, it should be about the client, how they can, add value with what they do for you, and it's all about servicing you. We're in the service industry. It's not about us, the agents, it's about our clients. So how could we best, how could an agent best serve their clients? One important big thing we do is we sit down with the sellers, for example, and whoever agent you may want to work with in the future. It's a good tip for you. Have the agent interview you. We put it on a video. Have them interview you, maybe a 1 or 2 minute video. Share with them the story of the home, why you bought there, what's important, about living there, about the neighborhood, about your neighbors, and that's it's emotional. So once you have that, then you get in the process of when you get an offer in a home as an agent and you want to negotiate, we can relay that to the buyers and the buyer's agent, so that way they can see exactly emotionally who the homeowners of this property are. Because without that, real estate is an emotional decision first, financial second. So without that, you cut out the emotional part of it. You're operating at like maybe 20-25%. But when you add that in, that ties the buyer into the home, so then they get to see the story of the home. They get to learn about the neighbors, the holidays in the cul-de-sac in that property, whatever it may be. It really brings it in and ties it all in together in a big way. Market absorption rate is another one. Every property, even properties at 10, 15 million and above, they have a specific, there's data in the MLS that we can identify how long it takes a home to sell on the average. For example, if we have $1 million home in a specific community, and we look in the past sales in the last 24 months, and we know that 6 homes have sold in the past 24 months, we know that on the average, 1 home sells every 4 months. Well, if there's 5 homes currently in the market for sale, right, there's 20 months worth of inventory already. So, if you're a seller and you need to sell your home and be somewhere else within the next, let's say, 4 to 7 months, you want to be what we call in the top 2 positions, right? So you got to be, you got to have one of the ideal locations. The condition of the home has to be tip top. The price of the home has to be, right where it needs to be able to identify what that is and sell the home. So really, selling a home is not just stick your finger in your tongue and put your finger up in the air. There's data that an agent should be able to provide you, to share with you who the buyer is most likely going to be, how long is it going to take to sell, and what the price should be. A lot of the times what sellers do is they just list their home in the market, and then all the feedback comes from other agents and other buyers. The landscaping needed work, or the home is a little beat up, or it's always something about the condition of the home. We can't change the location and the floor plan, but we can make sure the condition is always in tip-top shape to be presentable. Those are things that need to be handled up front before a home gets listed on the market. So getting that buyer to want to come back again to buy, to see the home, maybe write an offer. So you want to cash in on that opportunity, which is super important. You won't get that twice. So make sure you do your due diligence up front before you list the home, or before you even interview agents, and then go through the interview process. Make sure you hire the right agent, obviously, that knows what they're doing. They have a good track record of homes they sell, and you want the homes they don't sell, that number to be really small. And one of the most important questions you want to ask them is, what's your list to sales price ratio? This is a very, very important question to ask, because most agents will come in and sit down with a seller, and basically they'll ask a couple of questions to see what price the sellers have in mind. Then they want to list a home at that price, because that's the price the seller wants, and it may not necessarily be the right price. Sometimes most sellers want to overprice the home, thinking, let's price it here, we'll get an offer here, and then we can negotiate, which is not a good strategy, because it's just like going, for example, to a car dealership. You go to a Lexus dealership and they have a Toyota there. You're not going to look at that Toyota because it doesn't compare over here. So the home has to be priced where it is, especially this day and age, because buyers have access to the internet. They have access to data that we see as agents. So you want to make sure the home is priced where it should be, because if the price is up here, and if you do still want to do this, have the agent pull up homes that are priced up here. So you gotta see what you're competing with. And usually, once you see that, you're gonna realize, you're listing a 4,000 square foot home, wanting to get price of homes that are, 4,500, 5,000 square feet, because those homes are priced up here and they're priced correctly. So pricing is really important. Pricing a home determines realistically how much you're gonna get for a home. The more accurate the price is, the more you're gonna net out of the property. Because it's an easy argument for your agent to have with the buyer's agent. When the buyer's agent brings an offer in, and a lot of agents out there, they work hard, but a lot of agents just take orders from their buyers and want to offer here. So the buyer brings an offer here, but the price of the home is here, and it's the right price. Now your agent has a good argument to share data and comps with the buyer, couple that in with the interview with the seller and the video. They send that in with the comps. They're able to bring the value up. So there's a lot that goes in selling a home, a lot more than just what do you do for marketing and obviously commission. The most important part of it is negotiations. What do you do for your negotiation styles? Share with me what you do. Ask your agent that, right? They don't teach us how to negotiate in real estate school. We just got to take a test and have a driver license, car insurance, and not be a criminal, and we get our license, right? And we're up and running. Really, that's as much as it takes to go. So ask your agent, what is your negotiation styles? What do you do? It's a lot of strategy that has to go behind it. For example, I never negotiate at night. Everybody here on our team knows it's always in the morning. It's the first thing in the morning. Because my philosophy is a lot of people, they get beat up throughout the day. By nighttime, they're tired, right? You send something in, they coil up. So always, there's a lot of ways to do things, but typically what we do, for example, on a lot of the high-end homes, we ask the buyers to come back to the property after they send the offer with their agent. We bring them to the ground zero of the emotional element part of it and negotiate with them right there and try and close the deal right there. Don't leave it out there for 3, 4, 5, 6 counters to go back and forth, because the longer it takes to negotiate, the cooler the buyer gets. So as soon as you have an offer, you got to try to put a deal together like literally within less than 72 hours. That's when you're able to get the most amount of money typically. I'm sure most of you agents would agree, usually the first offer is going to be your best offer. And the reason being is there are buyers out there with the availability of the internet. They know what they want, what area they want to buy in. A lot of them know what part of what street, what floor plan. You'll be surprised. And they're just sitting there in the background, waiting to pounce on the right home that comes in the market. Now, if you're the seller, you list the home. What we just discussed, your home looks great, it's ready, it's priced right where it should be. This buyer knows all the numbers in the neighborhood. They've done their due diligence. Now guess what? Boom, you get an offer within the first 2 days. What happens if the agent doesn't share this with the sellers up front? To letting them know usually your first offer is the best offer. The seller's gonna think, maybe we should have priced it a little bit higher. Maybe if we wait, we'll get a higher offer, but that's never the case. So 70% of the times when you get an offer, your first offer is gonna be your best offer, and you gotta take it. So again, if it's set up right from your side as a seller, and the marketing is adequate to bring the buyer in with the right negotiation skills, deals get put together all the time. List to sales price ratio, again, that's important. That means, basically the price you list the home, what's the percentage of the list price that you're gonna be able to sell the home for? That's an important question to ask. Most agents probably don't even know, nobody's ever asked them that before. Pretty common.